Hello, beautiful friends. I hope your Christmas, if you celebrate, was filled with love and laughter with family and friends. As we head into a new year, I wanted to take a moment to ask if you could join a campaign that a lady by the name of Mel Arnost from Queensland started in November of last year. Mel is a mum who is asking for a National Royal Commission into the violence against women. As the final days of 2023 closed in, the number of women and children killed over the year across Australia was recorded at 74, according to researcher Cheryl Moody, who runs the Red Heart Campaign website. Of those, 56 women died at the hands of an intimate partner, along with 6 children, the youngest being 11 weeks old. Mel's petition reads, quote, "Please join our campaign and help break the cycle by signing and sharing. I started this campaign a month ago on the 20th of November 2023. A woman had just been killed in Morphett Vale, South Australia. A man was in custody. She was the 64th Australian woman killed this year and the 4th in a week. When will violence against women make front page news? When will it lead every news bulletin? When will it be the focus of question time in Parliament? There is a plethora of advice to dealing with domestic violence. Jess Hill addresses reforms needed in courts, in legislation, in communities, all in her book, See What You Made Me Do. We need more and better funded programs for men. Yes, this includes mental health and substance abuse treatment. We need more and better funded programs for schools and families. And most of all, we need this serious issue of women in Australia being killed acknowledged and addressed by our media and our leaders. We are daughters, mothers, sisters, wives, grandmothers, friends, partners. Stop killing us." End quote. As we know, this devastating number doesn't take into account all of those who are injured daily or who suffer in silence year after year. And before anyone gets up in arms, I realise it also doesn't cover domestic violence in regards to men. This campaign just happens to cover women. However, if you have any experience with my channel at all, you will realise that I am well and fully aware of the domestic violence men suffer at the hands of women. The campaign I'm covering today, again, happens to pertain to women. If domestic abuse perpetrated against men is something you are passionate about, please begin a campaign and send me the details. I'd be more than happy to support it. Moving on. Now, some of you may be thinking, but hasn't the government just rolled out a 10-year plan to end violence against women and children? Well, yes. Yes, in fact, just in 2023. Here's a little snippet.
Australia has a new national plan to eliminate domestic violence within a decade. The ambitious target has the support of state and federal governments and would save thousands of lives and billions of dollars.
Public tears for a private pain felt by so many Australian women.
For too many, this is a matter of life and death.
Tonight, this billion-dollar 10-year plan to save thousands of lives.
Ending gender-based violence in a generation is an ambitious goal, but a goal that we can achieve if we all work together.
The new national plan will include a greater focus on early intervention and education, culturally specific support, bolstered services for women and children in disadvantaged areas, and better coordination between the states and the Commonwealth.
Family and domestic violence or sexual violence has been likened to a form of terrorism. We don't say that we will tolerate low levels of terrorism. We don't say that terrorism is acceptable in some circumstances.
Currently, one woman dies every 10 days at the hands of a partner or former partner. Women like Tina.
We know that family violence is sort of the precursor to so many other social problems, and we need to get in and do that early intervention, and that's so important.
Often survivors end up feeling like we are somehow to blame.
Tonight, recovery will be included in a national plan for the first time. All states and territories have signed on, but ultimately it is the men of Australia who will determine this program's success.
It is about working with men and boys. It is about working on respectful relationships.
And it's about working fast before more lives are lost.
Nine political editor Charles Croucher joins us from Canberra. Charles, it is an ambitious plan from the Albanese government.
It is, Georgie, but ambitious hasn't always equalled success. Bob Hawke promised no child would live in poverty 35 years ago, while the Gillard government launched their own domestic violence policy a decade ago. This new report admits that old policy did not succeed. This latest plan builds on the failures of the past and with bipartisan support and $1 billion budget, and there are still no guarantees. And, Georgie, this problem is far too big for ambitious policies to keep failing.
Charles Croucher, thank you. And if you or anyone you know is a victim of domestic violence, there is help. You can call 1-800-RESPECT. That's 1-800-737-732.
Now, you may be wondering why we aren't giving this new plan a chance to work. Well, that would be because the original plan began back in 2010. Then there hasn't been any noteworthy improvements. Sure, the government's been throwing money at the sector by way of things like domestic violence leave that I'm sure very few people are even aware of. I know I wasn't until a friend of mine called asking if it came from any other leave or if it was separate. I researched it so she didn't need to in her time of distress, and for everyone's information, yes, it is separate. But my point is that we still have in excess of one woman being killed each week, and people who can't leave because they have nowhere to go. There are still not enough refuges and services to help people escape the violence. That number of one woman being killed each week would also be a conservative count due to the misinformation and poorly reported cases of Indigenous women who are missing or murdered. This issue needs to be brought to the fore in all media and not just in the most extreme cases. Those in power need to actually do something instead of paying lip service and throwing money at things in response to this problem, which is obviously not working. It hasn't for the last 13 years. Try a different tack. Then maybe we as a society can begin to recognise the signs and feel confident that we have the tools needed to intervene before these tragedies occur. Every year, I go into the new year hoping to see a turn in the tide, to see that things are changing, praying that there will be fewer cases for me to cover. But each year, it's the same, if not worse. I've been struggling over the last 6 months to upload anything because researching and being immersed in these cases is so heartbreaking. I had the script for David Elmquist's case written for months before I could bring myself to record it. I appreciate all of you for sticking with me over the years because I do believe in what I'm doing. I hope that I can be a source of comfort to those who have been through it, knowing that they weren't overreacting and that they're not alone. And I pray I can help anyone who stumbles on my videos who may be living in an abusive situation to recognize it for what it is and to seek help to find a way out. Though I can't promise that I'll be completely consistent in my uploads, I am working on self-care to help with my mental health, and I can only hope that this new year brings me a renewed strength and drive that helps to propel our little channel forward. I have put a link to the petition in the description box below, and also a link to Jess Hill's book, See What You Made Me Do, which I cannot recommend highly enough. As always, there's a list of resources below if the content of this video has raised any concerns for you regarding your own relationship or that of a loved one. And let's hope that 2024 finally shows that turn in the tide and respect rather than abuse becomes the norm. That's all I have for you today, my loves. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and be kind to one another. Bye.